3, 2, 1.
Right, Dave. Let's have a look. Countdown has finished. Let's check we're live.
Any minute now.
You're proper organised there, Dave.
We are.
Let's have a look.
There,
I have to, mate. It's
right
happened 70 times now. I have to check. Let's have a look.
Yours is slower than mine.
It is, isn't it?
Because it's already popped up.
Hey guys, Andy and Dave. If you're just joining us, just wait another 30 seconds. If you have joined us, do comment below. Just let us know you're here. Give us a thumbs up or a little comment, a namaste, a hello, wherever you're from. Just give us a little heads up. Dave, we're on the sofa, back on the sofa today.
I know, yeah. We thought we'd do a bit of Richard and Judy today, I think, and join us on the sofa for this afternoon's delight.
You sounded really Welsh then.
Did I?
The sofa?
The sofa? Aye, welcome to the Tuesday tune-in.
Great to see some loads of people joining us today. Always get a lot of people onto our competition announcements, and today, so just let you know a little bit about what's going to happen. So we're going to go into a little bit about the trip that one of you guys will be lucky to win. We have written down the name just over here. It's actually a bit weird seeing it there. I'm like, usually it's right out of the way. Hopefully I'm not going to say that name.
No.
But anyway, we're going to go into a little bit about Kilimanjaro. Also, as well, we got an exciting new announcement. So we got not 1, 2, or 3, but we got 4 new trips that we're really excited to kind of get off the ground. So we'll be talking a little bit about that, and as well as that, we'll be talking about all the usual, questions that crop up on the live. So if you do have any questions for myself and Dave, anything about high altitude trekking, climbing, mountaineering, anything at all, just drop them in, and that's what we're here for to answer.
Yeah.
Dave, I'm really excited. It's been a mad morning, actually, isn't it?
It has been a mad morning. It's been one of those where we come in and we know these lives are coming.
I know. We do them every week.
But for some reason, we always tend to have like a crazy build up, particularly with the competition winner, because we've got to, do the old random selection and find out who it is, which is always crazy because sometimes I think like we should do it a week before so I can settle into who it is. But we found out how many minutes ago? Do you think it was?
It was about 5 minutes.
5 minutes ago. Yeah, we found out who the winner was. You guys have to wait a bit longer than that. So
I know.
I'd rather be on this side of the camera. Actually, I think I don't think I can handle the suspense.
It's it's been amazing. We've had some great. We always get a lot of positive energy around the competitions, which is great. It's one of the reasons we started running them. I think the first one we did was back in early 2018 when we did Everest Base Camp.
Everest Base Camp, yeah.
Back in the day. And now, obviously, we've opened up heaps of new trips, even during, very challenging 18 months for the, everyone involved in the travel industry. Well, just, I mean, it's been good all considering, but still doing what we really want to do, which is get back to the mountains. That's been, I know we've all missed that. So, we can't wait to start. We're very close to starting, really. I think we're not a million miles away. We're hopefully going to get some people out to Morocco next month, which is fantastic. Not a big group. I think a lot of people are kind of a little bit cautious about it, but there's a few people who still want to plow ahead, and luckily we're able to run that. So, really excited about Morocco. And in the autumn is kind of, if you've been on any of our lives over the last sort of month or so, you know that it's kind of swinging in the balance at the moment with travel. But look, we want to talk about that just yet. We want to try and remain super positive, especially around travel, because, we're always trying to inspire people to kind of go on these trips. And, we know what it can do for people's lives. It enriches people's lives. I mean, travel is always been a big part of my life. And I know it's been a part of yours, Dave. And it's kind of, we grow as people, don't we, when we travel?
I agree. I've shrunk considerably over the last 18 months, but no, I think it was crazy when you think 18 months ago we went to Kilimanjaro and then we thought, what could stop us? Plow on, and little did we know. But actually, crazy. One thing that if all we get out of it is this community, we started the Tuesday tune-ins because of what happened with the C word. C word, yeah.
There's a lot of bad words being in with
C. Yeah, exactly. But, we started all of this community and stuff like that. I just spotted something here. Matt Coulthard, I hope your son is okay. He's hurt his foot. I know that feeling.
Oh, hey, Matt.
So repair up soon, mate, and keep planning the trips. But yeah, I mean, exactly. I never would have been able to reach out to Matt Coulthard in Gibraltar, sat in A&E with his son, because we started these lives, and it's been tremendous.
Watching from Gibraltar, yeah, I'm a little bit jealous, Matt. Got to be honest. A little bit of sun.
He is in the A&E department though with his son.
Not 100% jealous, but
yeah. Overall, if you're going to be in A&E,
Gibraltar's not a bad place, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, Matt, obviously, all the best to your son, mate, and yeah, hope he gets better soon. So, Dave, where should we start? Let's start with Kilimanjaro. Obviously, that's why we're here. Chat about the winner of Kilimanjaro. I know for both of us, it was when we did it last February. Yeah, February, wasn't it? February into March. It was certainly a challenge. I know that whenever we talk about it as individuals, it's just all about summit night, isn't it?
I'd say so, yeah. I mean, in terms of all the big questions that people ask, certainly, is it hard? Can I do it? How does it compare to Everest Base Camp?
Yeah.
What we always say is that where Everest Base Camp is a little bit more, it ebbs and flows throughout the entire journey.
Yeah.
Kilimanjaro is very much, you're on there to summit, you're on there to top out.
Yeah.
And so naturally you reach this big crescendo of summit night. And it's truly epic and truly, I don't know, it feels like, it's about 12 hours of your life to kind of get up and down.
Yeah.
And it's like the most intense 12 hours that you'll ever have. It's absolutely amazing. But it's one of those things where I think when me and you got back down and you just crash out in the tent for an hour,
it was great,
and you're just lying there having done it, and nothing quite compares to that feeling, I don't think.
It really is. It's an amazing trip. I mean, okay, you're going to the top of the mountain. It's also a big part of it. We talked about some of the highlights of it. I remember we did on our podcast episode. If any of you are keen to listen to that, jump onto the Mountain Malarkey podcast on iTunes or on Apple or Spotify. Check out the Kilimanjaro podcast. You'll probably hear a few choice words in there, because on the summit, after you've just summit and all everything's flying around, you feel on a high, literally, because you're on top of Africa. There was a few colourful words traveling around. But anyway, it's certainly, for me, it was around the people you travel with as well. We had the pleasure of trekking with some fantastic individuals. We're now really good mates with. I know we were friends with some of them, but you'd be lifelong friends, and that's a big part of what it's about in the trekking community, especially when you go through some challenging times. Because when you're at altitude, if any of you have been at altitude before, it's not always a bed of roses. You can wake up and smack you in the face at the best of times. But that's why we go there, because it's hard, because it's difficult. And if it was easy, everyone would do it. And it's not for everyone, is it? If we always use the example of if you go to Disneyland, that's probably a typical type of person. But saying that, I quite like Disneyland.
It was amazing holiday too.
I know you've been at Disneyland, but it's certainly not Disneyland in these kind of places.
No, Disneyland was quite tough though. It was like every day. I never done so much walking. But I'll be honest, yes, Kilimanjaro is one of those where I would say Kilimanjaro Summit Night is up there with one of the toughest days trekking that you'll do.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter sort of how fit and how active and how well trained you are. It's one of those days that'll always offer you adventure, because we can all trek at night, we can all trek at altitude, and we can all trek in the cold, and we can all trek for long periods of time, and we can all trek with sleep deprivation. But to reach the summit of Kilimanjaro, you're going to have to do all of those things, all in one sort of crazy 12-hour period. I say 12 hours. That's just the time it takes you from the tent to the tent. It's a long day.
And then it's downhill again.
Yeah, another downhill section. So, you'll generally be awake for around a minimum 24 to 34 hours.
Yeah. Which, can be quite challenging. I mean, I love my sleep. Excuse me. So for me, it was probably one of the biggest challenges was the sleep. I was fine with the altitude, the kind of physicality of it, but it was just so bloody tired.
It was like a zombie walking towards me at one point.
I know,
because we got above Stella Point, and then there's like a bit of a long drag, gradual drag, then up to the summit, which that's my favorite bit, because once you've got to Stella Point, unless you're, I can't conceive of turning back at that point. And I know some do, and they have legitimate reasons for. But you're so close to the summit, and the hardest bit. It's so easy to get from Stella Point to the summit. But one thing I didn't do was, well, walked up there, and I knew it was going to sunrise. I thought, I got to spend sunrise with Andy. So I stopped and turned around, and he was just a few sort of yards behind me.
Yeah.
Tracking like this.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Like,
it was quite tiring. It was
yeah.
Thing is, on those flat bits, you can't sort of fall off or anything.
Just have a micro sleep.
Just got to have those 15 seconds. It was great.
Yeah. To be honest, and it's funny because everyone draws a different experience for it. For you, the biggest challenge was the sleep.
Yeah.
Where I think maybe because I'd done some night shifts, I was okay with the sleep. But for me, the biggest challenge was getting my temperature right. It stressed me out the whole way because I run hot, but it was like -10 with wind, -15, 20. So you had to have your down jacket on and multiple layers. But then as soon as I got moving again, I'd start sweating. And then I worried that I'd get too cold when I stopped. So I had to slow down and start and slow down. And and then my water froze. Well, everyone's water froze.
Everyone's water froze. I think, sorry, talking about hydration. I think Ian has said, Stella Point, is there a Foster's Point as well? Sorry, I found that really hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a couple of premium lager points up there, aren't there?
Yeah, if there's a Foster's Point, I'll be honest, I'll skip straight past that. We call that cooking lager. No. I mean, well, to be fair, though, if you are trekking with some Aussies, almost certainly they're going to crack open a tinny when they get at the top. Every trip that I've ever done, like 100%. Base camp or wherever, if you arrive at the end zone and you see a couple of Aussies there, they love it. So they do. Good lads to trek with.
It's but yeah, just going back to Kili, and it is a fantastic trip. It is tough. It's we always choose the longer route, which is via the Lemosho route. It's beautiful route. Let's say it's a lot longer, 8 days. You can climb Kili in quicker times, but the success rate is far lower. Sometimes less than 50% of the people who trek on some of the classic routes. You ever heard of the Coca-Cola route or the Marangi route? The chances are a lot less. So, which is why we go for the Lemosho, because on all of our trips, and we'll talk a little bit about some of our newer trips a bit later on. Is that we always like to go the scenic route, the challenging route, a route that's a little bit different anyway. We've always been around about that kind of stuff. So and our itineraries show that as well. So like the Lemosho, if there's like Kili, if there's a long route, we'll do it. Yeah. Because you'll have a heck of a better time.
Little bit of a beer debate here.
Leah's caused that.
You have Leah's. I don't think I helped because now nothing wrong with Foster's. Yeah, sorry, didn't want to come across as a beer snob. But I am.
Each to their own, Ian.
but I am.
You knock back the Fosters, mate. Why not?
And then someone said Foster's over Corona. I disagree. I like a Corona. It's quite.
Depends if it's a drink or not. If it's a virus, I'll skip. I'll prefer the Fosters.
Yeah.
If it's a bottle, I'll have the bottle, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, hydration is important. I know if Bri is on here, if Mick is on here, hopefully we do Island Peak soon. They know how important hydration is, as well as Joel. I think Mark's on here. Mark Beecroft. Brilliant. Love your pictures, Mark, on the group. Absolutely loving them.
Actually, Mark.
Fantastic photographer.
Was it his video we were watching in Keswick? I'm sure it was yours, Mark, right? We were in a bar in Keswick called The Wainwright.
The Wainwright, yeah.
And on the TV, they were showing like GoPro footage of some of the climbing around there.
I was going to ask you about that, Mark.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was Mark. So, Mark, let us know if that was you.
You skied down part of, I forgot the name of the peak there, but in the Wainwright. Let us know, Mark, if it was you.
Yeah.
He's put thanks, guys, which might be a yes. But yeah, Mark, it was brilliant anyway. Absolutely love that. And I thought, it's Mark Beecroft.
Yeah.
So, Mark, fantastic bit of footage, mate, if it was yours.
Excellent.
But yeah, we've got some questions coming in already. We may as well answer a few because otherwise we're going to be...
the competition lives with the other stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, I've got one here from Ryan Wilcoxon, who said... What's the best peaks for training in the UK? You've done Snowdon, Scaffold Pike, Ben Nevis, Helvellyn, etc. Just wondering if there's any others that would suit as good mountain training. To be honest, all of those that you've said are really good. But I would say just explore the ranges. So obviously Snowdonia is more than just Snowdon. Was it the pronounce these for me? The Glithereye?
The Glithereye,
Glithereye and Carnaby.
Carnaby, yeah. Although if Steve's here, and one of our good friends from North Wales. He'd probably kill me about my Welsh pronunciation. It's never the best. So apologies if...
you did go a bit Welsh then. The Glidderai.
The Glidderai. No, because that's how it's said.
The Glidderai. Yeah, but no, you are. Yeah, so those are pretty good. To be honest, yeah, just explore the ranges. Like even on Ben Nevis, you can do the CMD, which is a little bit more challenging than the normal one, and enjoy some ridges and stuff like that. So also in Brecon, there's loads of stuff you can do.
I think I know where Ryan's coming from there in terms of what level of training do you need for Kili and other mountains. I think a couple of other questions have followed on from that. I think Shelley, who's just popped a comment there around you need to have an intense training for this climb. Essentially, when you come into Kilimanjaro, you are just walking up a mountain. There's no technical skills needed. Obviously, the fitter you are, the more enjoyable your trip's going to be. But one thing we always say about this is that you don't have to be He-Man. You don't have to be Superwoman. You don't have to be super fit. It does help. Like 100%, professional trekking company, the fitter you are, the better your trip will be. But, we've seen all shapes and sizes on our treks, and a lot of people, sometimes the people that actually have the best success are the real battlers, the people that don't give in, the people that are probably maybe a bit more of like, okay, I'm not feeling too good. I'm not sick. I got a headache. So what? They're cracking on. Obviously, if you're suffering with altitude issues, that's different. But my point is that when you're looking at these trips, don't think they're kind of out of reach for altitude junkies and elite mountaineers. It's not just about that. And it's been proven because we've taken a lot of different types of, I'd say, levels of fitness on our trips. Yeah. And it's a really level playing field. It really is. It doesn't matter. The fit people, the not so fit people, it levels the playing field. So yeah, in terms of obviously Ryan's question there, and I think a few of the comments, in terms of training and getting out there, don't think you've got to be someone in Ben Nevis every day to be fit and train. You don't have to. Just get out there. Some of you don't live near mountains. Just get out there, pack on your back, put the miles in, feel good, keep positive. And if you want to climb Kilimanjaro, you want to go to Everest Base Camp, whatever you want to do, you can do it. Just decide that you want to do it.
Yep.
Hope that helps.
Jason Townsend has said, what kind of altitude training will you need for the trek? So assuming Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, similar sort of thing then, really, isn't it?
In terms of, what you need in terms of altitude training, you don't need any.
Yeah.
It's possible just to get a base level of physical fitness, all the stuff that Andy just said.
Yeah.
However, if you do want to incorporate some altitude training to increase your acclimatization before you go there, even if it's just about increasing your knowledge of altitude, which does help a lot. Go back 2 weeks and watch our live from the altitude center.
Yes.
Probably, watching that will inform you far more than just some little sound bites I can give you now. But I will say you don't need altitude training for any of our treks, really. Yeah. What it can do is supplement your normal training and supplement what you do on the mountain, which is the most important.
Yeah.
But yeah, go back a couple of weeks, watch that video. And yeah, that should give you, some really solid information there on what you can do.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you made some really good points there, Dave. And yeah, the because a few comments coming around about breathing as well at altitude. And I know a lot of people who join our lives every week and we talk about this or have been to altitude before. You breathe exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't change. What sort of happens essentially? So imagine if you were, watch the altitude center video again. You'll get a more of a scientific explanation. But essentially, when you're standing still and you're breathing the same, that you won't feel any different. When you start to move and overexert yourself, that's when you'll be breathing more.
Yeah.
But you don't feel like it's like if you're underwater or if you're scuba diving, you've got to really suck that air in. That doesn't happen. We're not going to, say, the top of Everest. We're still high, still what we class extreme altitude, but it feels the same when you breathe. You're just breathing more if you're doing physical activity. I hope that makes sense. So it's always the unknown, isn't it, when you go to altitude? And I think certainly the first time for me, because just tell you a little bit about my personal story. I've got asthma. I've had it since I was a child. So for me, when I had the idea to go to Nepal and in the Himalayas, I didn't really know what I know now. This is before Evertrek was even a thing, and I wanted to kind of see if my body can hack it, and luckily. For some reason, I'm really good at altitude. I haven't got any issues, touch wood. But when it comes to what we've learned afterwards, it doesn't matter. Kind of, like we always talk about the levels of fitness. Okay, with asthmatics, depends on the severity and how you manage it. But essentially, anyone can be fine at altitude. Can be a bit of a lottery, it's quite rare. You get people who just aren't very good at altitude.
Yeah.
And we obviously, as a professional trekking company, we say if you want to speak to your GP first, or someone who specializes in altitude, obviously in terms of medical, have a chat with them if you want a little bit of peace of mind. But yeah, the amount of people we've had for the first time going to like Kilimanjaro, going to Everest Base Camp, and they're like, okay, it's hard, but it's an awesome experience.
Yeah.
No, we haven't yet, Tom. We haven't drawn yet, mate. Keep on. We're just answering some questions, and we'll be mentioning that in a little bit.
I've seen a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So one of them was from Mick about PCRs, and there was another one I think from James Ashley asking about what's our policy on zero vaccinated people, so people that haven't received any vaccination from COVID going on our trips. Well, we very much operate based on the law set by the UK government and whichever country we're traveling to. They are more restrictive for those people that don't have any vaccination. So generally speaking, no matter where you go, whether it's sort of green, red, or amber, if you're zero vaccinated, there's going to be a rule, particularly with amber and red, you're going to have to isolate for 10 days no matter what on your return. And you're going to have more tests. So a day 2 test, a day 8 test. So it does make things more restrictive. But it's down to everyone's sort of individual choice, I guess, on how they want to do it. I know it's a divisive subject, but I think being vaccinated, in my opinion, is safer and enables you to do a lot more in the world. Yeah. So that's basically how we operate. If you want to go to one of our amber list countries, let's say you were going to Morocco tomorrow and you had zero vaccination and you were going for the weekender, which is 4 days, well, immediately it's going to be a 14-day trip because we've got to add those 10 days on.
And I think just to sort of tag on to the end of that as well, we have to also find that balance. Like, if you're going away for 4 days and it turns into a 2-week trip, that's not probably viable, which is always why we kind of we look at it from the 360 approach, I suppose, which is like, look, if it's not really okay legally, it's feasible, but is it in terms of everyone could get stuck out there? There's other factors that come into it when it comes to the jabs and things. When you're going on trips, we would suggest obviously go in and check in the official stuff, the rules and what you need to do, because it's confusing for us. Like we've tried to we've gone through every single bit of advice out there, but say we're looking at one country. So we have to look at the rules to get out there, the rules to come back, the rules in the country, and obviously all the countries that we operate in. Even like personally, I'm going to Spain in a couple of weeks. So I've seen those rules, and you have to look at because obviously I'm from Wales, so we have to look at the Welsh rules. Then we also have a look at the UK rules because we are leaving the UK. Then we have to look at the Spanish rules, and then obviously returning. And there's quite a lot that goes into that. So when it comes to the trips and stuff, obviously we're like you guys. We want to get out there as soon as we can, but it's very difficult. Like, for instance, we were looking at some of the rules, which luckily they've changed now.
Yeah.
But say if you haven't been vaccinated and you've got to have a PCR and you're going over to Morocco for 4 days and you've got to do one 3 days before you come home, that would mean you'd be in the mountains. You can't do a PCR when you're in the mountains. So that essentially then would mean we'd have to extend your trip. Obviously, if you're vaccinated, that's different. You only do a lateral flow. So it's pretty crazy at the moment. But we're always those people who are you're on the positive side rather than the pessimistic. And we are trying to work with our suppliers in country, as well as finding the balance between, especially because 99% of our customers are from the UK, so we have to really we have to stick by the UK rules essentially. But we're always trying to be as effective as possible. It's always good as well. Someone comes on to the live and advertise some cure for herpes. But thanks very much, Sigun. Yeah, it's good. I'm not sure I'll have a look at that, mate.
Yeah, I just messaged Lauren to kill the spam.
But apologies. We get some spam sometimes. But look, I wish you all the best, Sigun. But I don't think any of us got herpes.
No, I wish you all the best with your herpes journey. So the other thing is what Mick was saying about those PCRs is how do we manage it? Well, there's a lot of them that will turn around. You upload the results and you get like a 24-hour turnaround.
Yeah.
And then some of them have to be sent back, so you need to factor in a few days. Again, it comes down to the individual country. It's very doable. It just depends on who you choose to go with.
Yes.
And who you sort of, how you've done it, whether you need to upload it, post it, however you're doing it. But yeah, it is very doable, and normally just a couple of extra days factored in is more than enough.
Yeah, definitely. I think, Mick, I know you're talking about, was it a 7 days trip to Morocco in November? I think by November it'll change again. Knowing it'll probably be on the green list by then, hopefully Morocco, because Morocco is really, really good. So hopefully it'll change. But if not, mate, what we'll do is we'll probably create some sort of little bit of advice. I mean, like all of our stuff when it comes to jabs and things, because we don't get involved in it. We can offer our advice on kind of what probably we would do, before you go and things like that. So you don't need any carrier pigeons and things. You can you can get it in. Sorry, I looked at Ramona's comment there. Finally a cure.
Yeah.
Brilliant. But yeah, right. Some more questions then before we crack on, and then I want to talk about our new trips, because I know a lot of our Evertrekkers are on here every week. Really excited about some of our new trips, but I want to tackle some more questions again. We've had heaps today, which is great. Let's have a look. Footwear. What boots and socks would you best for the terrain? Would you recommend a good foot balm, cream, post walk? This one for Rhiannon. I know you have some boots in mind, don't you, Dave? That you kind of talk about every week.
Well, actually, we're going to do a yes. I was trying to think of a foot balm. Never used one in my life. However, I've gone through quite an exhaustive sort of experimental process trying to narrow down the boots that I've used. One day, I think I'll bring them all in and line them up and get a picture in order, so you can actually see the evolution of how I've arrived at the boots that I like. They are the Maindel Boutans, which I know is becoming a little bit of a cliched comment. However, it's not just about how long-lasting they are or about how comfortable they are. It's a performance-based thing for me, because I always struggled going downhill with my knees.
Yeah.
And when that's probably only going to get worse. But when I switched to the Maindel Boutans with a good insole, it really made a big difference to me. As to foot balm, no idea. Couldn't help you there one bit. But I recommend asking all of these people in the group, because I'm sure there are some people in there that do know about such balms.
Yeah, it'd be interesting actually. Yeah, because I've not really used that. Certainly, definitely post in the High Altitude Evertrekkers group. If there's anyone on here who's used foot balms or altitude or on a trek, be interested to hear that. I've just to see if anyone else has used it. Yeah, because I'd be quite interested.
Yeah. Darren Borchier, how's it going, Darren? Do you sleep in tents on Kilimanjaro? Yes.
Hey, Darren, how's it going, mate?
Darren. And then on a couple of the other trips you do as well. So like Patagonia ice fields and you also will as well.
What was that?
That was me beeping out the
Very
one.
Good.
Yeah,
Very
that's
good.
me.
Dwayne Carter. Hey, Dwayne, how do people with asthma find the altitude? Do they reach the top okay?
I'll take this one out.
Good man. I don't know if you caught earlier, Dwayne, but I'm an asthmatic. I know a lot of asthmatics who've trekked to altitude with no problems. Obviously, chat to your GP first. Although most GPs are kind of here on the side of caution, so do speak to sort of maybe a travel specialist, because a lot of people, people have climbed Everest with asthma. Just because you've got asthma, I know that you're thinking, okay, lungs, altitude, lack of oxygen. But for some reason, asthmatics tend to do really well at altitude. So I've learned. Which is always a good, gives me a bit of confidence. But it's all about managing it. If you can manage it at sea level, and things like, allergies and dust and things like that, because if you're on places like Kili or Everest or in Nepal, any trip or altitude can be quite dusty.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question. We also did a live all about asthma. It was called Take My Breath Away. Have a little look at that on the previous live, just so you want a full on. So we chat about asthma a lot on that live. Could you go through the cool stuff behind you? That was Leah.
What?
We got a couple of things. We got some prayer wheels. That is a mask from Tanzania. Dave, you can always that's a different kind of mask to we're used to. I know we're used to using masks when we go into shops. Be very interesting. Imagine walking to a shop with that. I think they might. I got asked.
Unfortunately, I think it's it's got holes in it. But that's kind of like that. To be fair, we need to water the plants, otherwise I'll get shouted at.
The girls will tell us off.
I don't think we've done them in a while.
Right, next question. Any benefits hiking up Kili during a full moon?
Any benefits?
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose if you're a werewolf, definitely. But no, I mean, can't think of any, really. I mean, it'll be magnificent. Brilliant. It'll be beautiful and stunning. And benefits, I suppose, to photography and things like that. So yeah, it would be amazing, an amazing difference.
It's a good point, actually. Yeah,
don't
when you're wearing a headlamp, you probably can see naturally. Right?
That'd be a valid point, actually. Yeah, another benefit would be the light and stuff like that. So yeah, I suppose there would be some benefits. Nothing in terms of. I was immediately thinking in terms of like physical benefits. No, but yeah, loads of other benefits, visual wise and stuff.
Yeah.
Had a Kia Nicholson here.
Yes. Okay.
Ever had an amputee on any of your trips? Not that I'm aware of. Love to. Yeah, fine. Yeah. I mean, it's always a great story. I can't remember the dude's name now, but he was the first double amputee to reach the summit of Everest. He did it in 2006. He lost both his legs on Mount Cook, I think, in a storm on Mount Cook.
That's right, yeah.
I can't think of his name now off the top of my head, but no, he summited Everest. And there's been some other stories of people, Mera and Island Peak and things like that. So if someone wanted to go to Kilimanjaro, and had that, then we'd be more than happy to facilitate it and make it happen.
Yeah, definitely. Just going through some of the other questions. Does it rain on Kili in late March? Yeah, it can do. That's from John Flanagan. It can rain on Kili any time of the year, really. I'd say, and I don't know why this is, but they usually say the kind of latter time of the latter weeks of March. Certainly lower down when you're around the sort of jungle region, you do get some rain. So we always suggest taking a rain jacket, waterproofs. Some people wear ponchos. You see if you're up there and you see some of the guides and the porters, they'll have a huge poncho. So we always recommend taking one of them, just because it can rain at any time of the year. It's not like Wales. It doesn't rain 9 times out, 90 days out of 100 when it comes to the year. But it does rain on Kili sometimes. It's the same on like in Nepal as well. Very similar.
Yeah,
can rain sort of lower down, but you're all right when you're higher up.
Yeah, well, Kili's got its own sort of, they call it like its own microclimate.
Yeah,
because you'll see it. It's once you're in Moshi looking up at Kili, sometimes it's shrouded in cloud, but it's the only thing on the horizon that is shrouded in cloud. Everything else is completely clear, and it's because it's so vast that it does tend to produce its own microclimate. So you get showers in the afternoon, don't you? Nothing too bad though. Well, at least not when I was there in February. But not too bad.
Mick says a mention of Island Peak. Thank you. Yes, I did mention earlier on, Mick. But yeah, hopefully you got that one on the old bingo, mate. Go for it, Dave.
Yeah, so I spotted a couple of questions. Yeah. So Shelley Ellsworth, who sorts out the trip arrangements? Is that you guys? So essentially everything. So it is you have to get your your international flights and your insurance and the majority of your kit. But when you land in Tanzania, pretty much everything else is taken care of. So we'll pick you up in a private vehicle, take you to the hotel. The hotels are reserved. Then your guides, your porters, your tents, your kitchen tents, your mess tents, your toilet tents, all of that is all done for you. If you're going to EBC, all the internal flights, again, all your meals, guides, porters, all of that accommodation, that's all done for you. So the only thing really you need is money and things like little extras, so souvenirs, snacks that aren't included, like bottles of Coke and chocolate bars, and your tips and stuff like that. But everything you need in order to get to the summit of Kilimanjaro once you arrive in Tanzania is sorted for you.
Yeah, nice, Dave. Nice. That says heaps of questions, guys. This is great. We got a lot on here, so do bear with us. If you have posted a question, we haven't got to it yet, just give us a chance. We get through it. If there's because we're usually on live for about an hour, and we have got a few other things to cover, including announcing the winner. If we don't answer your question, we will get back to you on that. Tanya Oosthuizen, I want to just talk about your question. How strict are you in making someone turn around? So yeah, all of our guides, especially this is worldwide now, all vastly experienced at high altitude. If you're kind of relatively new to the community, I mean, when it comes to the guides that we have on our trips, they're really the best of the best. That's why we're not one of the cheapest trekking companies around, but also as well, we are quite picky when it comes to the kind of level of guide that we use. I mean, for instance, just talk about Kilimanjaro while we're here. Like one of our guides, Yessi, for instance, he's summited Kili over 400 times. He really knows how to, to see if it's, because you don't want to push people past that point where it's obviously not good for them. And that decision is the guide's decision along with yourself. We never want to force anyone up a mountain. At the end of the day, if you don't want to carry on, that's fine. It's you're all adults. It's up to you. But also, our guides are trained to basically do that decision with you. You know, like especially on our trips, we look at things like your blood oxygen levels, because obviously if that dips too low, then that's not good, and we need to not get to that point. You know, so they're managing you the whole sort of way to the summit and back down. You know, just in terms of success, I mean, on all of our trips, it's over 95% on all of our trips. So we kind of, you know, we have a gauge that we know we're doing something right. But ultimately, yeah, we've also had people we've had to evacuate for one reason or another. What I would say is that be really open and transparent with your guide. You know, when you're on a trip, because you know they'll spot things anyway without you even knowing. You know how much food you're having. They'll probably keep an eye on how you're sleeping, how you're looking, how you're feeling, how you're acting. There's so much you can read just from looking at someone, right? So the guides are obviously trained to look at that as well as the actual, you know, your blood oxygen levels, your heart rate. You know, if you are being sick, if you've got debilitating headaches, there's obviously a lot of things you can look at altitude. But yeah, one thing we really pride ourselves on is having really good guides. And that by the end they became friends, you know, and they will become friends of yours. I know they're your guides, and obviously you've got to respect them because they're there to look after your team. But it's a reason we have relatively small groups, you know, usually sort of 12 or less. And that's because you can get to know your guide better. Plus your assistant guides as well. You know, we always operate with assistant guides. And then you've got porters. And because of the way we like to do things, like some of the porters are actually training to be assistant guides. And then eventually when those assistant guides want to become guides, they can get trained to be guides. And that's the kind of progression line, if you know, if you get where we're coming from. So yeah, Tanya, it's a really good question. You know, we'd in terms of someone turn around, it's always one of those that we never want to do it, but sometimes we have to for the safety of that individual. And ultimately the decision comes down to the guide because he's there with you. You know, although we run the business, you know, we employ really good guides, and they're the ones that make the decision there and then, and we lean on their experience. So I hope that answers your question a little bit, Tanya. But yeah, really good question, mate.
I can do a few quick fire ones.
Okay.
So tent sharing policy, yes. So it is generally speaking sharing of a tent. So you can have your own tent if you want one. You just need to let us know, and there is a small fee for that. I think it's around $50. And you get your own tent then for the entire duration of the trip. Then there's another question from Dale Hill. It says, why are you not answering the questions about tent sharing? I just did. And then, so Chrissy's asked a number of different questions. Do you have to have a beard to go on a trip?
Compulsory.
I'll be honest, Chrissy, it does help, and you can buy them on Amazon. You've asked about tent sharing as well. Wow, a lot of people know about the tents. Yeah, so we are going to be doing tent sharing. Generally speaking, all of the accommodation is based on a twin sharing basis. If you end up in a situation where there's an odd couple, and that's a guy and a girl, then we do make the decision then to split those, and you'll automatically be given your own tent and stuff like that. We don't ask people to share who aren't comfortable to do so and things like that. So
exactly. Great question though, Chrissy, about the beards. I think Chrissy asked another question, which is around paying for the installments on the trip. Chrissy, that's right. Yeah, so you can pay. I'd say over 2/3 now of our customers, especially over the last sort of 3 or 4 years, have decided to pay for their trips monthly, which is very handy. Now, when it comes to sort of our policies, if you like, I mean, we never like to hide behind the T&Cs, just to say that out loud. But we've always been flexible, even before COVID. You know, things happen if you can't go, you know, and say you have an injury or, you know, the trip doesn't go ahead, or, you know, we have to reschedule. There's always heaps of options. So you can obviously move your trip for free. There's no charge with that. The only thing that's not non-refundable is your deposit. So when it comes to it, it's lifetime deposit. So when you book with us, it means that essentially you're going at some point. It's just a matter of time. So that's not refundable, but it is a lifetime deposit. So yeah, we get a lot of people who kind of do that. And then the rest of it is up to you. You know, we get people who sometimes pay it in full straight up the bat, which is cool. We get people who, you know, with us, you can pay a deposit and then pay 50% of the balance 6 months before you go. People do that. And then you get people who do it monthly. And it's nice then because people can, just basically it comes out your bank. And next thing you know, you're going on a trip, which is always quite nice, isn't it?
What do you think, Anne? Should we talk about the surprise sections of it?
Okay. We'll do that. We'll come back to these questions because there's a lot on here, which is great, guys. I love this. This is so many questions. Obviously, we're usually on here for an hour, so we might go over today, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we will talk about some new trips then, because if you've been part of the community for a while, you know they've been working a lot behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Certainly, there's been a couple that we kind of people might already know at. There's definitely two that I'd say were brand new. But yeah, we always, because we started off, in Nepal. That's always been our bread and butter, if you like. Going to Everest Base Camp via the different routes, climbing Island Peak, going to Mera Peak, Annapurna region. It's always been our bread and butter. But when we've had people go there and come back, and they wanted to say go to places like Kilimanjaro, this is why we've expanded a bit. And I think we're getting to that stage now where people want to obviously go to like South America, want to try other parts of the Himalayas, other parts of Europe. So we've been thinking, okay, let's get those organized. So we found some great teams in the country. They're still Evertrekified, so it's still Evertrek. But yeah, Dave, so should we start with, should we build up to the highest one, or should we just go off straight off the bat with a biggie?
Well, I'm trying to think of the altitudes now.
I know, yeah.
So I reckon we just go straight in with my personal favorite one.
Go on, you can talk about that, because I know you've been looking forward to that one for a while.
Well, since Evertrek started.
Yeah,
really, since Evertrek started. Yeah. So the first thing we're going to announce is obviously, we've been working on a number of these trips. We constantly get questions. What about this? What about this? When are you doing this?
Yeah.
And one of the ones that's come up quite a few times, and I think I've raised it quite a lot, is a trip in Pakistan, in the Karakoram, to the second highest mountain in the world.
You are killing us, mate. Ian's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, we are launching and have launched, and it is now live and bookable, K2 Base Camp, which is an absolutely stunning trip. It's been one of those that's been probably the fastest that it's ever sort of come together. Because it is just so unbelievably awesome, the K2 Base Camp trip. It involves, flying into Islamabad, then another internal flight to Skardu, which is a stunning part of the country. And from there, you literally walk through the Karakoram, which is the Pakistan region of the Himalaya. And it's a proper adventure. So sleeping under the stars in tents and in local sort of tea houses with the Balti people.
Yes.
Yeah, and
the Balti, good dancers.
Yeah, and
cracking dancers.
And then like singing and dancing, and then there's like streams you need to ford. So you'll be putting on some like trainers, rolling up and carrying your bag across streams and things like that. Then you've got the Baltoro Glacier. Merging at Concordia. So anyway, I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but it is live now. I'm pretty sure that Lauren, who's on the phones, is going to be posting links about it.
She has, she's popped it in there. So K2 Base Camp, it's a bit of a beast. It's awesome. It's challenging. It's just over 5,100 meters to the base camp, and we don't just go to Concordia. We do actually go to Broad Peak Base Camp and actually K2 Base Camp. So we kind of go a little bit further up.
Yeah,
which is quite cool. I'm really excited about that. And we got dates starting next summer. Definitely have a look at that. Download the guide as well, because it'll give you all the information on the actual page. Let us know what you think. We'll obviously be following up with that. So that's K2 Base Camp.
Yeah.
Then the next one is sort of one I'm really passionate about, which has been in Russia, which is Mount Elbrus. Now, Mount Elbrus has been something we wanted to do for a while, but we wanted to find the right team. A team that had been in there for at least sort of 10 years. They've been going back 22 years, I think it is, the team we're using over there. So we're really excited about that. And Mount Elbrus, the highest peak in Europe. It's a real bucket list tick. As well as some of the other stuff that we do. You're talking 7 summits now. We're talking Kili. We obviously do Aconcagua, which we launched last year, and now we're doing Mount Elbrus. So, on a personal level, we're really excited about that.
Yep.
It's quite what we've done is on all of our trips. We always like to do a bit different. We don't want to just go and climb the mountain. We want to look and explore the area. So the Caucasus Mountains are beautiful, and we thought, right, let's do some trekking around that to acclimatize before we go onto the mountain. So we've done that, and we've included that in the itinerary. So definitely have a little look, download the guide as always, and hopefully if Mount Elbrus is yours, obviously come and join us. Sorry, all the talking, getting a dry throat now. So Mount Elbrus, next one.
Yeah. So the next one. So what? Well, should we talk a little bit about South America? Do you think? Which one?
Patagonia.
Yeah.
Patagonia.
Awesome. So yeah, what we're going to talk about now is this is another one it's a slightly different flavor for us, to be fair, because most of our trips and our speciality really is high altitude trekking and climbing, but we kind of wanted to add in a different type of adventure.
Yeah.
And we wanted to go to Patagonia. That's always been something me and Andy have talked about, not only because there's a little Welsh village there, but also just because of the sheer opportunities for like adventure travel. Yeah. And so the one that we've put together is the Patagonia Icefields Trek.
Yeah.
I think what really separates this one from the rest of the itinerary and from a lot of other treks as well is that you are an integral part of the expedition.
Yeah.
So it's not just a guided trip. I mean, it is a guided trip, but it's not simply, looking after your own day pack and stuff like that. There is an element of like man-hauling the gear onto the ice trek. Yeah. So, it's got a little bit of the ice fields is the third largest sort of ice plain outside of the North and South poles. And if you've ever seen any historical like movie or even what Richard Parkes did, where you're walking across the ice fields with crampons on and the rucksack, like hauling the gear, there is going to be an element of that involved as well. It's obviously going to be tapered for, you to be able to achieve it. The idea isn't to try and, completely wreck people and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a journey, isn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly.
It's all about the journey.
Yeah, but it does mean, again, it's camping on the ice field. It's being an integral part of the expedition and helping the kit and transport and the, building and collapsing of the tents every day and things like that. Yeah. So it really does give that flavor of sort of,
it's a cool trip.
I'm in the wilds, I'm on the ice fields. Yeah. And you flirt a little bit with Chile as well.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you skip over for a day.
Yeah, you are in Chile. That's
right. It's a bit weird because I thought, okay, do they stamp your passport? But no, you just sneak in, sneak back. Apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the Patagonia trip, yeah, we've been really excited about that. Jerome makes a good point, and I think Dave did. It's Greenland and Antarctica are the two biggest plains. But yeah, it's
not the South Pole.
No, not the South Pole, mate.
Thought it was.
Well, Antarctica, North Pole.
Yeah.
North Pole.
Oh, I know that, but I feel like I have to come back with a fact now to redeem myself. I think I know where the term Arctic and Antarctic comes from.
No, I think it's so basically I think it's the Greenland and Antarctica, and then the Patagonia ice fields.
So where's the South Pole?
No, North Pole.
Yeah, I know, but where's the South Pole in the list?
Antarctica.
I know it's Antarctica, but it's not the second or third biggest ice. So where is it in the list? Is it fourth?
Oh, I think it's
or fifth.
No, I think it's the largest.
Yeah.
Sorry, we'll have this chat afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, Patagonia is in the top 3 apparently.
Yeah.
A little fact that we kind of came up with. But yeah, 4th trip, Dave. I may as well. I might talk about this. So this was a trip that we kind of announced a little bit a while ago, but we haven't really pushed. It was something that we wanted to incorporate. So it's in Ecuador and quite high peaks as well. We got Chimborazo, Cotopaxi. If you ever heard about the active volcanoes in the world, you might have heard those names. So that's all right, Jerome, don't worry. But yeah, when it comes to the volcanoes, so we started with the Ring of Fire Trek. And the Ring of Fire Trek is, something a great trip. It's a super difficult mine. It's, I'd say we wouldn't recommend it for your first high altitude trek because of the difficulty. I'd say if you're going to do Everest Base Camp or Kilimanjaro first, it'd certainly be a great second to do. But yeah, so Lauren, if you can drop the Ring of Fire Trek in, definitely download the guide. It gives you a lot of you can download the guide, have a look at the itinerary, and let us know what you think about that one.
Awesome. I'm actually messaging Lauren now because I'm being poked in the ribs quite hard to do the announcement.
Announcement of what? No, I'm joking.
Apparently there is an announcement to make, and I don't know why, but I feel like Lauren's just shouting at me through the thing, like, people want to know.
They do. Well, look, we wanted to obviously the people who follow us regularly as well, we wanted to talk about those new trips. We wanted to do those a little bit of justice, but we've only got a certain amount of time today, so we'll obviously crack on. If there's any questions we haven't covered, guys, I know there's been a lot of questions today. We'll certainly come back and go through the comments and answer them individually. Or at least drop you the link so you can do it, because we have a lot of information on our website. We built quite an extensive knowledge center on the website, which answers a lot of A lot of questions around all the kind of the common questions that come up really around altitude, around trekking. So definitely have a look at those. Also as well, do check out the previous lives, because we've basically, since lockdown happened, we didn't really want to, we didn't want to hide. We wanted to tell people, like, okay, we've got all these questions to answer. Let's do what we call the Tuesday tune-in each week. So what we do today is what we do every Tuesday. And that's answer all the big questions that come out. So I think this is almost our 70th week that we've done this. So yeah, if you're interested to find out more, obviously come back next week, drop your questions in. But right, Dave, before my voice disappears, should we announce the winner, which is on the board?
I think so, yeah.
I'll tell you what I'll do. Yeah, go and stand next to us. I'll switch the camera.
Do you want me to stand by?
Yeah, you can be like Carol Vorderman on.
Yeah, hang on. I got some
program.
I got some startup stiffness.
So Dave had an ACL replacement, which is why he's taken so low. Yeah. But right, Dave, I will. Penny probably will want to say hello. Right, Dave, let me know when you're ready.
Hang on a second. I gotta pet the dog.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, this person, obviously, and a friend are going to top of Kilimanjaro with ourselves. We'll get in touch with you as soon as we're off the live. We'll drop you a little message, and we'll go from there. So yeah, without further ado, you ready, Dave?
I'm ready. So just kind of like,
it's going to be.
So congratulations, Lee Morn.
Very good, mate. That's right.
This should be a track or something like Lee Morn.
Very good, very good.
There you go.
Right, Dave, come and sit down.
Yep. Hang on a minute. It takes me a while.
Let me know if you need a walking stick.
Yeah.
Let me get this right.
There we go. So smooth.
Whew. That was brilliant, Dave. Well done. Right. So yeah, guys. There we go. Right. So yeah, congratulations, Lee. You're going to Kilimanjaro with us. We'll definitely drop you a message as soon as we get off this, and we'll obviously get in touch and make that trip happen. Is Lee on the live?
I love some of the comments. OFFS.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
No, it's let's have a little look.
I feel sorry for Brian, because I know he's had his acceptance speech ready for about the last 6 competitions. So one day, Brian, one day.
Well, look, obviously, thanks for everyone for being a part of it.
There he is, Lee.
Legend,
mate.
Lee is on. Well done. It's always great if people are on the line.
Yeah, I love it when they're on.
But yeah, obviously, if you haven't been one of Lee or one of Lee's friends, check out your emails over the next hour. We do like to reward people who have entered the competition. And there are some runner-up prizes as well. So do keep a lookout on your emails. But right, Dave, wow, that's flown by.
That has absolutely flown by. I mean, so we've been going, it's a bit actually, because we were a couple of minutes late. So I think we've got about 6 or 7 minutes left.
Okay, well, so a couple more questions.
I think, but yeah,
then we'll chip
that's
off.
Awesome. Lee, well done, mate.
Lee's fainted. Wow. No, honestly, we love the opportunity to be able to do this kind of stuff. And years ago we started the company. It was taking people to amazing destinations and doing this kind of thing is what we're about. So yeah, Lee, we can't wait to have you with us, mate. Milton Keynes, great stuff. I used to live in Milton Keynes.
I lived in Milton Keynes for 3.5 years.
You never know. Maybe you and Lee.
Almost certainly, we've. It's it's not a huge place, so lived there in a while. Lee, message me and we'll talk about your trip and life in Milton Keynes.
I was going to say we'll get you out of Milton Keynes, mate. We'll get you on a trip, but obviously when we can travel again. Right, a couple more questions then. I got to scroll past all the congratulations first.
Yeah, Mick Hamilton has said any discount for OAPs. Mick, you don't qualify as an OAP, mate. I'm afraid.
I was going to say he's stronger than most 30-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone did say, and I think it's what I want to talk about it a little bit. Is someone said, is there an age limit to trips? And no, certainly not. When it comes to age and these kind of trips, we certainly don't say, look, if you're 60 or over, you can't go. Altitude's a real level playing field. We've had people who in their early 70s come with us to Everest Base Camp. Obviously, it depends on the individual. Just looking
FML, congrats, Lee. Chevy. Honestly, I love it.
Loving these codes.
It is one of those ones where it's just, I don't know what we're going to do when one day we do it and it's like it's someone that we know like quite well, because the odds are that eventually we'll know someone, and we're always like, oh God, do we know him? Do we know him? Do we know him? And it's great that we expand it. We've had quite a few people go on these trips, and I think we got a couple of winners backed up, haven't we, since COVID? So it'd be great to get you guys out there, and so you can really see the full journey of what these giveaways are, because I think we know that, you know, so we've been through the whole thing where we've started the competition, people have entered, and then the winner's been picked, and then sometime later they've gone on the trip and come back. So we see the full circle and what effect it can have on people. So it's always amazing.
Yeah, it's mad. I mean, just seeing Chrissy, loads of questions today, mate. You've been on it. Yeah, well, how many entries did you get? I think we had about just under 5,000 entries this time. So yeah, I think we've run a couple of competitions. I think the largest we had like 18,000 off one competition. So yeah, pretty mad. But no, it's been great. A lot of positive energy. You know, as a travel company during these mad times, we we still feel privileged to be here, and we're excited to get back to the mountains. You know, that's what we're here. And although we love doing this stuff, you know, we really do miss the mountains. So yeah, we can't wait to do it. Got a few training weekends coming up. We got some trips in Snowdonia we're looking forward to. So yeah, we can't wait. And obviously, Lee, we will be in touch. And he owns a pub.
What?
Owns a pub. We'll have to come and see that pub then, Lee.
100%. We'll have to come up and have a little pint and have a little chat.
But yeah, brilliant. Well, look, guys, we'll leave it there because we've got a lot of stuff going on. But we'll try and get back to all the questions that we weren't able to answer today. And then, as I mentioned, we're doing this next week as well, so we can chat about any other questions. But yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yep.
Cheers, Dave.
Yeah, nice.
I need a drink now,
mate. I got my water to go Evertrek bottle here. See, look at that product placement right there. But yeah, no, that was amazing. And I think obviously any questions that we haven't managed to get, I'll make sure Lauren, because we're terrible at this, but I'll make sure Lauren remembers to prod us next week, and we'll get them all answered.
Some of those questions, definitely. Awesome. All right, take it easy, guys, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
See ya. Bye.
Bye. Nah.